Check out our education, content, and more at PivotalMomentsMedia.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Her Journey channel. Today, we're here with Beth Shaha, who is my personal life coach and wayfinder and has made my life so much better just by her being in it and guiding me through this process. So, Beth, welcome.
Thanks for having me back. I always enjoy time spending talking to you and all the community out there. It's so much
Well,
fun.
that's right. And we've had some really, really hearty discussions, and it's been a great opportunity for me to kind of share with the audience, like my own experience and what I've gone through. And as we were thinking about what should we talk about today, I was thinking, wow, how far that I've come. Like, and first of all, as you always say, let's celebrate that. Right.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, on this wellness journey and trying to get in like a positive frame of mind and really build upon that mental fitness that Pivotal Moments Media stands for and really promotes. It's how do you do that? And how do you put yourself in a position so that you can thrive in life? Because life does happen and there are obstacles. And what are the tools and the resources that are out there that just are intended to help us go through this process easier, better, happier in the
Yeah.
long run. And I remember I came to you and I was like, this meditation thing, it's so stressful.
Ah,
And you were like, meditation, stressful. And so, now it's something that honestly I can't live without. And
mm,
I look forward to and finding those moments in my day where I can do that. But it really took for me a huge reframing of what is
yeah.
meditation.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
you even talked about other tools that you encouraged me to use was journaling. And it's the same thing. I was like, oh, I don't have time for that. But
Right.
now I have a completely different mentality towards it. Now I realize my life is going to be that much better if I take time for it. And it really does allow me, it's a creative process for me. And I need that to keep me going and keep me flowing. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. I
Yeah.
think if you're not familiar with some of these things, you have this thought of what they are.
Sure.
But
It's like
you
you have oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but you taught me differently, and then I was gonna
Yeah.
let you run
Well,
with
I
it.
think that we have a preconceived notion. When we think of meditation, we think of, all the apps out there that are out there for us. We think about guided meditation. We think about having a perfect pillow, being in a perfect room, having it be perfectly quiet, not being distracted. How many times have I heard people say, "Oh my gosh, I've done my entire grocery list in my head while meditating, and that's not helpful." And because there's so many thoughts that come and go, and we think about, it needs to be 30 minutes, and we put all these rules on. Well, I am like, who says? Who says? We have a screwdriver somewhere in our garage or in our house, and people could tell us how to use it, or we could use it when we need it in the
Right.
way that we need. Oh, I need to tighten this screw. I'm going to use my screwdriver now. So meditation is simply the act, the using it as a tool is simply just literally saying, I'm taking a minute,
Right.
taking a minute. And that could be 30 minutes. That could be 1 minute. That could be, you're at the doctor's office waiting for one of your kids to come out and you decide to go in your car and sit for a couple minutes of just quiet. It could be that. It could be going to bed at night and meditating over some things you want to be grateful about. It just means pausing, thinking, and at the end of the day, if it's stressing you out, like you said in the beginning, it is not helpful. So what?
Right.
So as you said, redefine it.
Mhm.
Redefine what meditation is. Meditation is simply a moment for me to center, a moment for me to come home to myself. And however that looks like. If a fancy pillow helps you come home to yourself, buy the fancy pillow. If it's literally just closing your eyes for a moment and taking a couple deep breaths, let that be. There are no rules. You talked about journaling. I was talking to a
Mhm.
client just 2 days ago about that. And she said, "Oh, I used to journal. I was so good at it. I did it every day." And I said, "Pause." And she said, "It was so great, but now I don't." And I said, "So tell me, what do you tell yourself about journaling?" And she came up with all these rules. And
Oh.
she said, "This is what it looked like to me. And this is why I was quote, good at it. And I said, for me, I just need a piece of paper and a pen. And sometimes I'll take a blank notebook up to bed and I just need to get it out. For me, sometimes it's not even something I want my kids to find one day as a family memory. No, no, no. This is just Beth needs to purge. And I likened it. I said, it's kind of like when you take a bunch of things out of your house that you're going to donate, or I find great joy in taking the trash out because I'm like, oh, good, take it, go away. And I think with journaling, sometimes I just grab paper and start writing because I just want to clean my mind. I want to purge it all and get out of it so that I'm now starting with a clean slate. Journaling doesn't have to be in a do you know how many journals I have back here?
I know.
About 40. Some of them are still in their wrapper.
I love that.
And great pens. Look, you're going to get yours too,
I
right?
have the same one still in the wrapper. And then I probably have 3 or 4 more laying around that I use for
Right.
different things. So yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's not about perfection. It's not about the rules. It's not about I used to be good at it. It's
Right.
what's helpful today. How
Mhm.
is this going to help me in my moment? Is it
Right.
meditation? Is it journaling? Is it I'm washing the dishes and I'm seeing the bubbles and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I'm washing the dishes and I'm enjoying it because now I'm starting to see the prism on this bubble. The warm water. Use your five
Right.
senses. All of a sudden, that's meditation, friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Totally. It's interesting. I made a comment to someone one time who was encouraging me to do more meditation and stuff. And I was like, I'm just not good at it. And he was like, well, will you let me walk you through a meditation? I said, yeah, sure. So we were sitting outside. And he said, close your eyes. So I closed my eyes and he goes, what do you hear?
Hmm.
But I hear the wind blowing. I hear people laughing. I hear a dog barking. He goes, Sandy, you're meditating. And I was like, oh,
Yeah. And that's so
interesting.
simple. He
Yeah.
used a sense.
Yeah.
Dropping into a sense, like, what do I see? The other day I did forest bathing. I went and did it. I've never done it before. I've heard about it,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
literally went on a walk and this woman talked me through and the first was what do you hear? Then it was what do you see? But we spent 10 minutes finding movement and if you saw a bird, you were lucky because I was like, I don't see anything else moving. But seeking it. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden you'd start to see the smallest thing. But just like you, he took you to a space where you were right there, right then, listening, and you
Mhm.
were home and you were paused in that space. And that he's so right. That's meditation. And it's that simple. Now I'm curious, Sandy, how did that feel for you to hear that validation? Oh, I just meditated. Did it
It
feel
was such a relief, a huge relief. I was like, oh, I can do this. This
yeah.
is easy. But it also just helped me to focus on something other than all the noise that was happening in my head. Right. And so that for me was very eye opening. And so now for me, meditation has completely evolved into no one meditation ever looks the same for me. It's just
Right.
where I am in the moment. What am I doing? What do I need? And what do I feel like?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
may not feel like having a 20-minute deep, like breathing exercise, but I may feel like having a 1 minute just sit and relax and listen moment.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so now that I've taken, as you said, all the rules out of it and taken it out of its box and let it be whatever it is, it's easy and I enjoy it.
Yeah. And it's to create your own. And what
Mhm.
you said is so true. What do I need right now? What I
Right.
need right now in this moment might be different than what I need in 3 hours, might be different than what I need tomorrow. Sometimes I need a whole weekend. And other times I could just stare at a flame,
Yes.
light a candle
Yes.
and just look at it and be in that moment, right? So I love that. It's meditation is not meant to harm us. It is not meant to stress us out. It is not journaling, all these things that people say, self-care,
Yeah.
it's not meant to make us feel bad because we're not doing it right. You just have to find the way that works best for you and listen and go for it. Make it easy.
It is interesting, as you say, as you just said, make it like, is it right? Did I do this right? And I remember with journaling, even, I'd start out diligently every day, talking about my day, laying it all out on paper. And then I got to a place where I was like, I don't really want to talk about this to myself, not to anyone else or anything. And I don't want to write about it. And I don't want to have to read this later, which I have learned going back and reading it later actually is so insightful and just gives you a whole different perspective. But it also kind of can show you where you've come from and where you are today and that growth. But again, I had to do the same thing with journaling. And even now, my journaling can be completely random, whatever I want it to be. Sometimes I'll write poetry. Sometimes I'll just write my feelings like, I am so angry. I don't want to do this, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, just release. And, the other day I sat down, I was like, okay, I want to journal. I'm going to journal. And I couldn't think of anything to write about, but these songs kept coming into my head, various different songs. So I just wrote the lyrics down.
Yeah. Right.
And it was fun, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
what's coming next? What's coming next?" And again, it takes the pressure off of it
Uh,
being right or wrong.
right.
It was
Yeah.
a good release for me. Whatever it was, that energy I needed to
Yeah.
just let go of, it gave me the opportunity to do that. Oh, and it also put me in a state of mind, I was like, "I need to listen to some music." Right?
Right. Right.
So that
And
for
that
me.
shows flow.
Mhm.
It shows that you're willing to kind of meander. And that
Yeah.
meandering, it's like that not all who wander are lost. Not all who meander need to be very specific with their journaling. Meander, let the meander be your meditation,
Yeah.
however that looks. And it seems like you did a little bit of both of that while journaling.
Well, and you know this about me, but not everyone else does. But I also struggle sometimes with the being productive versus floundering, right? Or meandering, as you said. And now I've learned that, all right, that to do list, let's scrap it. Like sometimes you can be most productive and most creative when you've given yourself the space to meander and flow and just where am I feeling?
Yes.
Where am I going with this? As opposed to oh, I don't have time to journal. I've got 10 more things on my to-do list. I've got towels that need to be folded and emails that need to be responded to. And sometimes you just have to let all of that go because what I've learned for me is that's a lot of busy work.
Hmm.
And when I can really focus myself and really get creative, then suddenly my time is being spent productively working on things that I enjoy,
Mm.
things that move me forward as far as work goes, and things that are just meaningful. So now it helps me to be less task oriented and more meaningful and intentional about the work that I'm doing and how I'm spending my time.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you give yourself the freedom to explore what's important and what you value, all of a sudden, I mean, literally, I'm having this vision of a to do list and they're kind of just falling off the to do list, all these little items like not important anymore, not
Right.
important anymore. Oh,
Right.
but this I value. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. But now I have a fresh perspective and I don't feel so bogged down by the other four things that they're seemingly valueless. They don't do anything for me because we become, we were very rule oriented. Our social self says, write this down or you'll forget. And then we write this down and we must do. And if we don't do, we've failed. And we go to bed thinking like we're failures. Whatever, when we allow a little bit more of that meandering, that creative space to really keep perspective, the to do list has less power and we're not
Right.
as worried about it. It's another rule that we put on ourselves. So I'm here to say, let's buck the system a little bit. Let's not be
Yeah.
so role oriented, role followers, and recognize here it is again. We've talked about this before that if we let our essential self lead and our social self get the stuff done, we're going to be all right. It's when it's
Right.
the opposite is when we are so rule oriented and focused on the how and what's and making it happen that we almost lose sight of what's important. And so we're worried about how meditation looks, how journaling looks, how self care looks, all this stuff of being mindful. Who
Yeah.
cares? Let it go out the window. What does it mean for you?
Yeah.
Find your thing and choose it today. Tomorrow it might look different. And
Right. That's
that's okay.
right. Yeah. That's so okay. I love that. Yeah. That's such a freeing moment when you can let yourself go there where the way you just described it, it's freedom, right? You're no longer held hostage to your task.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, it's fun. And now,
Yeah.
and now you're like, oh, what else creative can
I know.
I do? And all of a sudden it's like, all right. And then you realize you look back on your day and you're like, if you can be in that space, you've had a much better day. as far as how you feel, and you've probably gotten more done than you ever realized you would, or at
Yeah,
least meaningful things, right? Who cares about the number of tasks? It's about how
right,
important are the tasks. So,
right. Absolutely.
good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thank you, Beth. Again,
Yeah.
always super insightful. And if you're looking for more content like this, please go to PivitolMomentsMedia.com. And Beth also has some great insights on her website. So, Beth, tell us how to find you.
Yeah, people can find me. I'm the Grounded Canary. So just look up www.thegroundedcanary.com. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook. And, I offer 30 minutes of just get to know you space. If anybody's interested and just wants to talk this over or, be creative with me and start thinking about a place you might feel stuck or, I'm always willing to, this is my jam. I love this kind of conversation. So if something we talked about today inspired you and you want to just spend a little more time getting deeper on that for you personally, look me up. Let's spend some time together.
Sometimes these concepts seem so simple, but honestly, it has taken me spending quality time with you, talking with you, allowing you inside my head for me to actually be able to see these things aren't that hard. They're actually are quite simple, but it takes someone else to kind of just lay it out for you and show you. So thank you for that. You have been
Yes.
tremendous support to me in that way. Thank you.
Been fun.
Awesome. Well, I wish everyone a great weekend. And again, www.pivotalmoments.com for additional more content like this. And we also have these amazing mind care kits. So check it out. Thanks.